Hello, this is Broyar, and welcome back to another episode of our Let's Play for U-Boat as we continue our run here with our little baby sub. Still got the little baby one here. Hopefully we'll get a new one at some point. We got to get some more tonnage sunk in order to qualify for the next one up, but we're going to make do with this one. I mean, we've done okay so far. I mean, we haven't really sunk anything with the torpedo that wasn't already standing still, but you know, we're gonna work on it and figure it out, and hopefully I don't mix up the numbers like I have in the past. And by that I mean the left, the port versus starboard facing of ships and things like that. I think we're already fully stocked. Let me just double check here. I might as well. I believe I ended on stocking everything up. Food all looks okay. We got the medical supplies. I'm assuming we still don't have access to any dynamite, which is just annoying. I don't have any of the potassium absorbers. I don't know how relevant those are going to be. I mean, we got a good chunk of money, so we could grab some. I'd rather have them and not need them. Oh, we're not going to buy that many, that's for sure. Let's get like 5. Still worth cost quite. Oh, you know what? Do I have a merchant dude? I thought we had one. There we go. Edward Buchsbaum is our merchant. Edward, there we go. Let's make sure we select you. Go get us a little bit of a discount here. All right, that takes, you know, a good chunk of money off of this. So yeah, we'll grab like 5 of these maybe. And I don't know. I honestly don't know if we use them or how much we'll use them for, but I'd rather have them and not need them, and then alternatively, like I said. So 19 minutes. Let's go ahead and just skip ahead real quick. And there we go. All right. Do we even have a mission yet? Tonnage war, reach patrol area. Yes, we do. Okay. So let's go ahead and get out to our mission area. Over here. Somebody asked me why I like to go to the far side and then come back. I guess I would rather, for me, and maybe it's just weird, but I would rather have my ending patrol be closer to port so I can kind of push the fuel usage a little bit more. Like if I were to end my patrol up here, let's say I started here or something like that, and this one's only got 2 rows or 2 columns, but let's say I had 3 columns and somehow I ended up here, right? I went up, down, and then back up. Well, then I'm as far away from my port as I possibly can get when I finish my patrol. I would rather spend a little more fuel getting, you know, to the furthest point over here, work my way up, and then come back down again, and then I'm at the closest part to my coming back home, which means I can be a little bit more aggressive using fuel through all of this, because it's going to be a lot easier for me to get back home from here than it would be from, you know, up one of these top spots up here. It's not much of a difference, but that's the reason why I go to the furthest one first, just in case anybody was wondering. I would rather end closer to port than further away. And I think that all works out. All right, that looks good. Let's go ahead and, that's not what I wanted. Let's get our speedometer up here. And I just go ahead and go up forward 3 until we get out of port, as usual. We'll go ahead and open up all of our other little bits and bobs here. All right, we can go ahead and go back down to speed 1 at this point, because again, I don't really care how long it takes me to get to our patrol area, and that'll give us more fuel to be able to go at max speed once we get there. Is our schedule set up properly? Feels like, okay, there we go. There's the guy on the engines. Where's our navigator dude? Why are you observing in the conning? I feel like something's changed. What am I missing? Oh, you know what? Let me just make sure the schedule does look okay. So we got the 2 chief engineers, we got the 2 watch officers, we got the chief boatswain, so that is somebody new that we did pick up. We've obviously got the 2 radio operators. That's right, we haven't gone out on a mission with our new officer yet, have we? So that is definitely different. But we do have somebody on navigation. Schedule should all be okay. I think our main guy up here is just going to work whatever schedule. I don't really care. He'll just be available for whatever. All of this looks okay. Yep, I think we're good. All right, they just haven't for whatever reason. There we go. There, now I'm on my navigation. I was like, why are we not on navigation? Now we are. Oh, you know what? Stop. We do not need to be running our schedule right now. We can just stay on the surface. Not a big deal that we did that, but better to stay on the surface when we can. Until we get closer to our location here. Alright, Lone Steamer, Smoke Cloud. Let me go ahead and grab my tablet here so I can write some of this stuff down. Alright. My very modern, or sorry, my historically accurate little writing tablet. Okay, let's go ahead and erase this. I know I've made that joke a few times. I can't help myself. So we are at AN 519. Slow speed, so I'll call it like 7 knots, most likely. Northern course. Northern. Pursuing other targets. Alright, so 519. That is right over here. It's not going to be in our area, unfortunately, and it's actually pretty far out of the way. Because it's going to be over here on this, actually going to be in this bottom right-hand quadrant. I mean, we could chase it down. Again, the problem with chasing this down is that we don't get credit for it until we get to our patrol area, which I don't know if they've changed that, but I'm pretty confident that that is in fact the case still. So I'm actually going to ignore that one. As painful as it is, as much as I would like to just sink a ship, I need credit for it. If we don't get credit for it, we don't get to upgrade ships. So kind of an important detail here. AN 195, single propeller. That's in the northern part of our patrol area, I believe. Slow speed. Let's go ahead and say slow and southwestern course. So 195 is right here, dead center of this square, 195. And we actually could get to that one. So that one actually is reasonable for us to go after. So AN 195, and it's southwestern course. So we'll just kind of plop a line here, say it's going to go southwestern. Something like that. And we should be able to intercept this one and still be within our patrol area, which would be good. Again, we don't know exactly where it's going. It's probably going to one of these places over here coming from Norway, which does mean it's most likely going to be one that we could sink, even if it is a Norwegian ship, because it's most likely, I mean, it's definitely going towards England. There's not much southwest of it from this location besides England itself. Okay, so let's go ahead and get us some plots here. Let's go ahead and get us our line here. And somebody had asked me about how I'm doing this, these intercepts, because maybe I didn't exactly explain the intercept procedure very well. So I'll try to do a better job of explaining a little bit what it is, and hopefully I can do it justice. All right, so you're kind of on that trajectory, more or less. Okay, so we essentially intercepts are all about, for me, they're all about triangles. I mean, that's how I used to think of them. Doing it with the circles now is definitely much better. And I'm going to pause again just while I'm talking through this. It serves the same purpose. These radiuses that we're putting up, these vector intercepts, right? So the whole point is that we want to know, again, we can do a triangle. In the time, let's say this thing's going to go 7 knots. And it's going that direction. And then I'm going, let's just say I'm staying on my current course or whatever. In the time it takes to go 7 knots, and we can even drag this out to 70 because the scale doesn't really matter. There's 70 knots, right? So it'll go that distance in the time it takes me at max speed to go that distance, 130. Because right, that's 7 knots times 10, 70. Or well, it's again, it's all relative. So don't worry about the fact that knots and kilometers don't exactly line up perfectly. But in the time it takes them to go 70 kilometers, it will take me, assuming they're going 7 knots. Again, we're going to go 130 kilometers because we're going 30 knots. So that's the time. And then we can do that again. All right, 7 knots. All right, so they're going to be there. And I'm going to be, right about here. If I were to stay on the current course, right? And then they can go, somewhere around here. I'm not being exactly precise, but I'm just trying to show the example here. And then we're going to be, somewhere past here, right? So if we were to continue on our current courses, 3 steps of this, current, at this current level here, they would be here and we would be a little bit past them, right? So obviously that's not good. We want to do an intercept though. And the way the intercepts work is we need to figure out exactly at what point what's the best way to say it? We're trying to figure out the angles. And again, I used to use triangles for this. For example, let me see if I could do this with a triangle, because it's going to be harder, but it's going to hopefully prove my point a little bit here as far as why doing these vector intercepts are just a better way to do it. And I'm probably going to I'm probably not going to do this right, because I'm used to the vector intercepts now. Let me see, what's the best way to... Essentially, and it's hard to do it on the screen, though, because what we're trying to figure out is, in a time it takes them to go X distance. It doesn't even really matter what X distance is. And we're going, you know, Y distance, or so to speak, right? This is, you know, let's say this is ours versus theirs. And I guess I could always shrink these up to make it to 70 versus 130, like I was talking about before. We want to know, let's see, how's the best way to say this? It's going to be hard to do this without circles. I'm trying to do this without the circles, but it's hard to do it now that I know the circles. Essentially, we're trying to figure out where we can be 130 kilometers away. Again, using this scale, again, forget the scale that knots and kilometers are not exactly 1-to-1. But we're trying to figure out where we would be on this course to go 130 kilometers away to get to them at 70 kilometers away. And again, I'm doing a really bad job of explaining this without using the circles. I'm a visual person. I can't do this without like drawing it on a map or stuff like that. I'm trying to figure out how to best do this. I apologize. I'm screwing it all up. You're probably better off just looking up vector intercepts. I would Google it. Google vector intercepts. It's probably the best way to learn how to do vector intercepts, because I don't know how to explain this. I'm not a very good teacher, apparently. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm taking too much time trying to figure this out. Sorry if you want to know how to do this. I just don't know how to explain it. I know how to do it. I just don't know how to explain it. And so apologies if that's not good enough, but it's just going to have to be the way it is, because apparently I am butchering trying to explain how this works. It really just comes down to how far are they traveling versus how far I'm traveling in the same amount of time, and where do those lines intersect. That's really all it comes down to. And trying to figure out how to do it, you know, in a way that is not just using the vector intercepts themselves, I'm obviously failing at. So let me go back to the vector intercepts, because obviously I need to figure out this course right now. So we're going to assume they're going to go about 70 kilometers. So again, in the time it takes them to go 70, they could reach anywhere in the circle, right? Anywhere along the edge of the circle is where they can reach. Now we know that they're probably going around this direction. So we're going to use our intercept starting from along this line here, and we go 130 out. Again, it's all relative. So our 130 has to be relative to what we think their speed is at 70. So there we go. That's how far we can travel versus how far they can travel. And if we were only going to go 10 knots, we would just shrink this down to 100 kilometers. If we were only going to go 7 knots, we would shrink this down to 70 kilometers. And it's possible at 70 kilometers is not an intercept, because maybe they're going so fast that I would never catch them because we're going the same speed. But the fact that we can go faster is the only reason that we can even plot an intercept in the first place, is really what it comes down to. And then we need to get the angle here. So we go from them along our line out to their circle, out to our... Wait a minute, I did this backwards, didn't I? I always get this backwards the first time I'm thinking about it. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I did it backwards. I didn't do it far enough. Out to our circle along our line, sorry. And then we need to go into, back into their circle. I had it backwards. I don't know why I do that sometimes, but my brain sometimes doesn't work. It works backwards for some reason. No, I didn't mean to erase you. No! I was clicking the wrong button. That's all right. We'll get it set back up. Again, it's all relative anyway, so it doesn't really matter where I put this. We don't know exactly where they're starting. It will all work. I guess I could go back, unpause the game again, because it doesn't really matter if it's paused or not at this point. We're going to be able to figure this all out quickly enough. So again, back, the circle should be pretty close to good enough. So I do need to put their circle back though. So we'll go ahead and put the 70 out here. It's all an estimation anyway, so it doesn't really matter, you know, exactly where I put these. Again, on our line, I keep hitting the wrong one. I want the angle one. On our line out to our circle. Nope. Back into their circle. And maybe I could explain it better with this right here. Because as you can see, they're going about 70 kilometers. I didn't put the exact dot in the exact same spot, but it's okay. Because again, we don't know exactly where they're at. They're going, in the time it takes them to go 70, we can go 130. So if we were right here, our intercept would be perfect, right? Because our intercept would be exactly, we're going the exact speed to get to this point at the exact same time that they'll get to this point. And so therefore the angle of intercept is 34.2 degrees. When we back that out, because of the way, you know, the triangles are going to work, it should not matter, right? It shouldn't matter where we put our intercept on the triangle. We could say that our ship is over here. You know, if our ship was right here, again, I keep using the wrong tool. If our ship was right here and we wanted to go 34.2 degrees, you know, then those lines should ultimately be parallel is what it comes down to. 34.2. And again, I'm making a mess of things trying to explain stuff at the same time as I'm trying to do stuff. I probably should just not explain it. I probably should just leave it at Google it. I don't know, that's a terrible way for people to say things. Just Google it. But you're going to be much better off learning how to do this from somebody who knows how to teach somebody than for me who is just better at doing stuff. I'm just going to do it. And 34.2 is right there. And if we were to look at these two lines here, it's a little bit hard to tell, but these two lines right here, this one that says 131 kilometers should be basically parallel to the one we down here that says 312 kilometers. So essentially what that means is in the time it takes us to go 312 kilometers, they're going to be able to go, what is that, 177? So the ratio should stay the same, right? At 13 knots, we'll travel 312 kilometers. At 7 knots, they'll travel 177 kilometers, and we should still intercept them right about here, is the current idea. So we're going to go ahead and hit on that. And we could check this in a bit, right? When we submerge somewhere around here, because that's within their range, we'll be able to determine how close we were on their angles and their, you know, approximate location. I mean, we only know that they're in 195, right? And they could be anywhere in this square. Also, we only know they're going southwest, which could be pretty much anywhere from probably a 90 degree to the west, or, you know, straight west all the way down to straight south. Anywhere within that band could be construed as southwest. So we don't know exactly where they're at. So when we have these not precise, I should say, things, we're just gonna have to guess. That's kind of what we're going for. I feel like I over-explained something very poorly, and I apologize. Short answer, just Google it. I'm sorry. I wish I could give you a better information than just saying just Google it. But at the end of the day, there are plenty of extremely good people out there that are very good at explaining things that I am not. At least not in this particular context, without stumbling over my words. And I would very much invite you to go look for any one of them, because they're going to do a much better job than me. It's all relative, though. What distance can I cover in the same time it takes them to cover, you know, X distance, you know? And maybe another way to put it is, if I can do this, and the way I do determine a lot of these things is, let me see if I can can I just do lines here? If I were to do like X, and I'm going to use lines here because it's really bad. Let's say it was X over 7, and please forgive the fact that these are just measurements, versus, and we're going to say that the ratio of that is equal to Y over 13, right? And I'm not going to be able to do a 13 here, but bear with me. So X over 7 is equal to Y over 13, because basically they can travel X distance at 7 knots, and we can travel Y distance at 13 knots. And so we're going to use a lot of those ratios over time, which means basically if I can travel 130 kilometers at 13 knots, well, that's a 10-to-1 ratio. What that means, they can travel 70 kilometers. Well, what if I could travel 150 kilometers at 13 knots? What does that mean? Well, 150 divided by 13 is what? 11 point something times 7. That means they can travel about what? 80 something kilometers. It all comes down to ratios and stuff like that, because everything should be essentially equal as long as the speeds are consistent. If they're staying at a 7-knot speed, which is what we're guessing they are, then the distance they can travel at that speed should always be the exact same. I mean, there's no variance of that, right? If you're traveling 7 knots, you're going to go 70 kilometers the exact same amount of time, no matter, I mean, it's never going to change. So that's where the ratios come into play, and that's where a lot of this comes in, and we can, that's why these intercepts actually work, is because we can predict where they're going to be based on the speed that they're running at. We're gonna get a little bit closer. And we can actually determine approximately where we think they are, right? If we were to say, so we're at 34.2 degrees, right? So if we were to go backwards from our 34.2 degrees along our line, let's come out to our ship and go up to 34.2. 34 points. Why is my lines not working right? I guess I know this gets this right. It's still right. I just was looking at it funny. We would expect them right this second to be right there. Now that's a little bit far for our hydrophones to listen, so we're gonna have to get a little bit closer. Probably right up close to the edge of AN43 here before we can actually truly find them. So we'll cruise along here just a little bit more. All right, we should be able to find them now. So we're gonna go ahead and go down to periscope depth. Now, some people did comment on the fact that obviously our hydrophones do not work quite as well at periscope depth as it would at much deeper depth. Same thing, they do not work quite as well at high speed as they do at low speed. That being said, at this distance, we should be able to find these guys. Now, if we can't, we can always stop. We can always go deeper. We can always whatever. But more than likely, we should be able to find these guys within this range, even at the speed we're going at, even at just periscope depth. Again, if we don't, well, we can always make adjustments. Man, I really wish I could explain the vector intercepts better. I'm just not very good at it. I don't know. I understand it. I just don't know how to explain it. I actually have a t-shirt for that. It's something like that. It's like something like I can explain it, but I can't understand it for you, or something like that. I don't know. It's a goofy t-shirt. It's a snobby t-shirt though, to be honest. So, I don't know. We're still just a little bit outside the range. Again, I could go deeper and I could stop. But honestly, I don't think we need to. I think we can go back surface and we'll just get a little bit closer and that's going to be fine. If we get a little bit closer and we still can't find them, then we will definitely adjust things a little bit more from there. Again, they could be anywhere along this line, you know, anywhere kind of in a pretty big radius here. So just because we don't know exactly where they were at to begin with. Let's get about within 60 kilometers of our destination here. Okay. Let's go periscope. Oh, did I go periscope or did I go decawash? I might have gone decawash accidentally. I think I might have misclicked that a second ago. Okay, so we got periscope. We got a dozen. Okay, that's scary. That's a little scary. 222 degrees. So let's go in here and see how close. Is this the ships that we were tracking a second ago? 222. No, this is definitely not the ships we were tracking a second ago. These are ships down there. Do we know the distance here? 30 to 50 kilometers. Closing in too. I mean, obviously a convoy, other than the fact that we're going to be in for a fight because of, you know, it's guaranteed to have destroyers along with it and frigates and things, is usually much better than chasing down a single ship, right? Not exactly what I was looking for though, going out here this second patrol, or what is this, our third patrol? I think this is our third patrol. I'm going to clean up all this because if we're chasing a convoy, we don't need any of this other stuff. We don't care about a single ship if we're going to go chase down a convoy. So, what is it? Daytime? It is daytime. Looks like it's a little bit, is that foggy? Is that what that's depicting? Let's clean everything up. And let's go click on this and let's plot an intercept currently at 6 knots. There is an intercept at 6 knots. 24 kilometers away is actually not that bad. So we're going to call this I2. And then if we were to stop, currently they are way over here. They're actually going due north. Wow. This is a very, very direct line here. So they're going along this path right here. Do we have an idea of speed? Just medium speed. Do I want to guess it a little bit faster? I'd rather guess a little bit faster and get ahead of them than guess too slow. So I might even guess around, 9 or 10 knots. Medium speed, I feel like that is going to be faster than just a 7-knot run. And again, if we get ahead of them, we're wrong, that's fine. So let's plan for 10 knots. So we're going to go for 10 kilometers here. It is daytime though. Oh, that's the thing. Okay, because we're ahead of them, this is going to be one of those few times where we're actually going to plot their circle bigger than our circle, because we kind of want to stay periscope, I think, if we can. And we're going to be going, what, 6 knots, I think, are at our best. So we'll go 6 knots here, which is a little bit weird. I don't normally do these. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to erase or remove that one. All right, so that's them. So we need to go along our line out to our circle. And this is backwards because, again, I'm not used to being slower than the other people. 45.40, but that does look like that would be about right? And the time it takes us to go 6 kilometers, they're going to be able to go... Actually, they're only going to be able to go 10 kilometers. So this still isn't quite right. I think because the circles are flip-flopped from what I'm used to, this is not quite right. Essentially what I said a second ago is still accurate, right? In the time it takes them to go X, we should be able to go Y. And we already know those. In the time it takes them to go 10, based on our guesstimate, we're going to be able to go 6. I'm wondering if we go... Did I go to the wrong one of our circles? Was I supposed to go to the inner circle here? That doesn't make sense, though, does it? I actually don't know how to do the vector intercept in this case. Huh. I actually don't know how to do this. Let me think for this second, because I know how the ratio works, but my circles aren't working because my circle's smaller. Should I have started with my circle? I wonder if you just always start with the smaller circle. I bet that's how it works. See, I haven't done one with the smaller circle before. I bet we always should start with the smaller circle. I never thought about that before, though. So if I say we go 6 first, that doesn't make sense, though, because this assumes that I'm the one going faster. So no, this won't work. I don't think this is working. Well, in my lesson for vector intercepts, you guys are learning that I don't know everything about vector intercepts after all. I mean, I know what it should look like. I'm just trying to figure out how to make it work the way I need it to. Because this is just going to be if I were the one going faster. Which definitely does not work. Okay, well, let's get rid of the circles for a second, because I think I know how to do this without the circles to some degree. Even though I just told you guys a second ago that I didn't know how to do this without circles. Because again, it kind of comes down to these lines, right? They're going to go 10 knots, or 10 kilometers. And off of that 10 kilometers, I need to figure out where on this line it hits 6 kilometers. So there we go. That's what it should look like. That's our angle right there. I just don't know how to do that with the... Why weren't the circles lighting up? What did I do wrong with the circles? Because again, we would go 6 kilometers in the time it takes them to go 10 kilometers. And we just move that line up. So why did my circles not work? What did I do wrong with the circles? 10, 6... Oh no, my circle worked. I just was looking at the wrong line. I'm a dummy. I'm sorry, guys. It did work. Because I'm looking at this now, and I'm realizing if I just jump out to my circle, like I always do, go back into their circle, like I always do, I was looking at this 14 kilometers, and that was confusing me. I should have just been looking at the 10 kilometers over here, because again, they're going to go 10 kilometers, I'm going to go 6 kilometers. The distance between us at this point in time would have been 14 kilometers, but obviously that's kind of just an example. So our angle of intercept is 44.8 degrees. I was right the first time. It looked funny, and it was throwing me off because of the fact that we were the ones being slower. So 44.8. Again, I'm still not perfect at this stuff, but we'll get there. All right, and this is, I guess, I3. I don't know why I'm labeling these I's because it's not actually that accurate. So this is where we would expect to intercept. Now, we were expecting to intercept them a second ago here at 6 knots. My thing says we're going to intercept them here. But that's because I was assuming they're going 10 kilometers. Oh, we actually know exactly how fast they're going then. Oh, right, we do. Because they're going to cover a distance of, what is this, 27 kilometers? In the time it was going to take me to go 24 kilometers. And that was at 6 knots. So again, we go back to our ratio of 6 to 24 is equal to x over 27. Sorry, actually this needs to be 6 times 27 divided by 24. They're only going 7 knots? Why does it say medium? I feel like medium would be faster than 7 knots. They're only going 7 knots though. Okay, well, we're going to plot for the original intercept that our guy told us, because apparently they are only going 7 knots, and that is presumably more accurate. All right, periscope depth, flank speed ahead. Well, do I really want to go flank speed ahead for 24 kilometers? How fast do we go when we only go like forward 3 or something? I mean, the real question is, do we have... Oh, look, there's that other ship. That other ship is out there. So we do know that there's another ship, but we've got to chase the convoy, right? Even though we've only got, what, 5 torpedoes to our name? We've got to chase the convoy. So you think there's an intercept here if we go a little bit slower? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with going a little bit slower, preserving our batteries a little bit. Like, how long does it take us to go 24 kilometers at 4 knots? That's a really good question. Because I don't want to obviously run out of air and stuff like that. I mean, vision's not that good. I think we can go surface and get ahead of these guys. I think we're still going to kind of push towards over here. And honestly, probably the best thing for us to do is to push within about a 2,000 kilometer, or 2,000 meter, sorry, 2 kilometer, 2,000 meter spot along here and just wait for these guys. Obviously, we don't want to... We don't want to be surfaced for too long, because that will... They could spot us, right? We have to be a little careful here. But I think we got a little bit of distance, right? We need to worry about that. And we're going to be going a little bit faster at speed 3 here, so we'll get there way ahead of them and just be sitting there waiting for them. How bad is the fog out there? It's pretty foggy, but it's still pretty bright as well. If the fog starts to lift, we could be in trouble, but for now, I think we're okay. I mean, our visibility is less than 2 kilometers, actually, which is a little bit crazy. Oh, I should be running the, slow down for a second. I should be running the, compressor. Get back to 100% over here. Presumably we are quite a bit ahead of these guys. I think once our compressor gets to 100%, we will... I think we're going to periscope now. This periscope, it's going to be hard. We're going to have to do this almost not by sight, because these guys, I think, are going to be in a very awkward spot. I'm actually going to go down to forward 1. We're going to slow this down big time, because we should be far enough ahead, it shouldn't matter. And honestly, plotting intercepts on a convoy, I mean, we could generally plot an intercept on a convoy, but plotting an exact intercept on a convoy is probably not going to be a great idea because, like, we don't know which ship we're actually going to go after until we get close to the convoy. So we're going to kind of wing it once we get a little bit closer is what it really comes down to. Good news is we know the general direction of the convoy. We know the general speed of the convoy. 6.5 knots is what or 6.75 knots was what I came up with, so I'm going to guess 7 knots. Hopefully once we hit periscope, our guy will be able to hear these guys very quickly. Presumably they're going to be, I mean, because we went a little bit faster, they're probably still a little bit further down here. They could be past I2, but not by much, I don't think. Good news is, whatever we were plotting for that guy up there was correct, so we would have found him as well if we had not come across this convoy. There we go. Actually pretty far down there still. I mean, at this point, do we just chill and wait for these guys? Oh, because we're going so slow. Yeah, yeah. Intercept would put him there. And then let's, if we just were to stop completely. It's weird that because we're going so slow, it's going to put us way up there, but I feel like we would catch them sooner. So now they're currently on this line. So I guess they're deviating from the course slightly, although not by much. They're actually still running parallel to their original course that we thought they were going to be on. Just a little bit different here. I'm still kind of okay with the idea of just heading straight, maybe straight over here and just catching these guys. We're just going to cruise along at just a really slow speed here. We're going to creep along, be able to track these guys pretty regularly, and really just hopefully be able to intercept these guys here in a minute. It's going to be really hard though with the fog. We're going to have a tough time of actually getting a good shot off here, I think. We're going to have to be within like 1,000 kilometers. Sorry, 1,000 meters. 1 kilometer in order to find it. We're going to have to be within 1,000 kilometers to shoot these guys. In other words, we're going to have to be in Germany while they're in England. I'm sure that's more than 1,000 kilometers, but you get my point. my terminology was dumb. Still down there. We're really just going to be sitting here chilling, aren't we? I mean, I'm okay with getting within this 2 kilometer kind of range. And then probably just pausing for a minute. Let's get within 2,500 and then we'll just kind of track them a bit. I might want to come facing at them, to be honest, so that we're less of a profile. There's a lot of ships out there. Nope, nope. Apparently our intercept is way off. Yes, I know there's a lot of propellers out there. Oh, there's some Type 7s out there as well. Okay, so we do know there's some U-boats out there. Oh, they're behind us. Is that their course? Do we actually know their courses? Why is it not? What just happened? Why is it, That was really weird. I was like, why is it like, showing their... I was trying to plot a course and it was showing them instead. A little strange for a second there. Apparently we're in a wolf pack now. There we go. Okay. 2,500 meters. We want to find this group. This group right here. And we want to plot an intercept for them. Interception not possible? Really? Are they moving away? Oh no! When did they... They were closing in a bit ago. Now they're suddenly moving away? Why? Is there an intercept possible at a much faster speed? Probably not, right? Huh. Wonder why they changed courses. Okay. I wonder if these U-boats got in there and did something, and now those U-boats were like escaping or something, maybe? Yeah, we can't intercept these guys then. I know it said closing in a second ago, because we even had an intercept way up here. Well, I mean, that's not on us. I don't know what we can do about that. There's nothing we can do about the fact that these guys are moving away, other than the fact I should have noticed that they were moving away a few minutes ago, probably. All right, well, our first convoy, we were not able to chase down. So, apologies for the, I mean, we'll find another one, but I thought we were going to find a good convoy here, and I was going to stop the episode right as we found us a nice big fat convoy. But I guess that'll have to be for the next episode when we find one. And again, apologies for the really bad vector lesson, if you can call it that. Google it. I'm going to be honest. That's how I learned. And I just don't know how to explain what I saw in a way that makes any sort of sense. But apologies for that. But anyway, we're going to put a cut on there. When we come back, we'll find us another convoy. Because again, we're not going to catch this one if it's moving away. Which is fine. We'll catch the next one. But I do appreciate you guys watching. May God bless you. And I hope you join me again next time. Thank you and goodbye. I wanted to give a special shout out to the following channel members. Thank you so much for supporting the channel.